Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare Yamuna Tera Vanachare Jaya Ratha Matava Kunja Bihare Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Prahlad Lakshmi Nrsimha Bhagavan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Versteht jemand kein Englisch hier? So I can speak English, everybody understands. Hare Krishna. Wer braucht Übersetzung auf Deutsch? Hare Krishna. So this is a Hare Krishna, everybody. This is the beginning of the festival, Sankirtan festival. I think and I asked this devotee who was driving us today, Jai Shishi Nrsimhadeva Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai. Jai. Prabhupada ki Jai. So I asked him, is anybody already come? Because I was thinking usually, no. He said, no, it's already people came from the Christmas. It was already full people already here. So a festival started a little earlier than usual, but today and tomorrow I was asked to give us some kind of a topic-oriented speech, and I chose today, tonight, and tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. I will speak on the heroes of my youth, the transcendental heroes of my youth. This is what does it mean, because before I joined, usually in the days, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, people who joined the Hare Krishna movement, they were very young. So I was also very young. I was 19 years old, 20. And so these heroes of my youth, I joined a long time ago, 35 years ago. I don't even remember, so long ago. But this people that I met or that I interacted with instilled in me some lessons that I even now follow. So this I call them heroes of my youth. These are the people who I met first time as coming from the materialistic background, as everybody else coming from the materialistic background, to the spiritual reality, and you meet certain people personally or not personally, but you hear about them, and this is the same as meeting them ultimately. Created in me such an impression that even now, after so many years, I'm already an old man with a K. No, I'm not, but I'm very old, and I still follow this. Actually, follow this mentality which I saw in certain people. It not necessarily mean that they told me something. Some of them did tell me, but some of them I observed, and I thought, wow, I want to be like them. I want to be. This is what I want to be. So these were the Vorbild, this, in German it says like examples or somebody, when you were a teenager, I don't know in India what you do, but in the West, we had the posters on the wall of my favorite musician, and everybody has the posters nowadays, whatever, So these are my favorite personalities. So today I will speak about one and one only, and his name is, he's the one grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jaya. And the reason why I will speak today about Prabhupada, because Prabhupada is the source of all other devotees, and he instilled, Prabhupada was the original, you can say, I don't want to say father of the Hare Krishna movement, but the source of the Hare Krishna movement. The Switzerland devotees, are you also from Switzerland? Huh? Oh, Swiss devotees. So Prabhupada is the original Quelle. What is the Quelle? Source. The original source of everything, actually, and we will see today, of all the good qualities. If somebody has the good qualities, it's the source is Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada, by his example, when he was present in this earth, he gave how to behave, how to sit, how to... there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita when Krishna asked Arjuna, the other way around, Arjuna is asking Krishna, my dear Krishna, what is this? Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Pramarupa Prabhu Ki Jai. I was just glorifying Swiss devotees, but there's a the Swiss devotee came. The source, the Quelle, alle, So, now it's an honor to speak here. So, Srila Prabhupada is, as it said, the source of everything. Because Srila Prabhupada, Arjuna asked Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, what is a spiritual person? You know, like nowadays we have so many, oh, this is a very spiritual brother, you know, they say in America, he's a spiritual brother. You know, he smokes lots of pot, he's a spiritual brother. He has visions, you know. I don't know, you know, this is not. So some people think spirituality is this, and spirituality is meditation. Nowadays, more or less every bigger company, important company has a meditation classes for their workers. You know, so you go and meditate on your breath, whatever. I studied a little bit. There's so many different kinds of meditations you can do. Meditation on the sound, meditation on your breath, meditation on your movements, and so on and so forth. So what is spiritual? So Arjuna asked this question, what is spiritual? What is a spiritual person? How does he walk? How does he sit? What does he speak? And these are all good questions. And what is his activities? What does he do? So Srila Prabhupada gives this example. This is a verse in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, Narayana Parayana. This is Narayana Parayana. The actual devotee who is constantly in touch with the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna, he's actually a transcendental devotee. He's not different. And therefore, whatever he does is spiritual. So Prabhupada is the example. He's not just the example. He's the, Prabhupada sometimes described, walking Srimad-Bhagavatam. We have a book, Srimad-Bhagavatam. Srimad-Bhagavatam is the very large, many volumes, 12 volumes of transcendental literature in India known as Bhagavad Purana. There are many Puranas. The Bhagavad Purana is the Srimad-Bhagavatam Purana Mammalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. This is the purest Purana. It says that the cream of all Vedic knowledge is, and again, talking about essence, is in the Srimad-Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada himself, he personified everything what is written in Srimad-Bhagavatam. He walked, he sat, he spoke. So this is like a, what better do you want? There's no better than this. So Srila Prabhupada, just really quickly, Srila Prabhupada, I call him Srila Prabhupada. His full name is A.C. Abhaya Charanaranavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So this is a long name. And, you know, at that time, different names are added to describe your personality. Like you have in this Native Americans, you have a wind in his hair, you know, and he's standing because wind, or wounded knee, you know, there's a, you know, this famous, you know, because he was wounded in a battle, his knee was wounded. So his name was Wounded Knee. So, so we have Prabhupada, his name was, original name was Abhay Charan. His father gave him this name, Abhay Charan. Abhay Charan means ones who take shelter and who is not afraid to take shelter of the lotus feet. So then, when he got initiated by His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he got initiated name, as we all of us, we become a little more serious in spiritual life. Yesterday, a few days ago in Munich, maybe a week ago, a man came to a temple in the morning, I don't know what, no, evening, and he came to me and he said, "Are you from ISKCON?" I said, "Yes. I want to get Diksha in ISKCON tomorrow." I said, "Well," I said, "It doesn't work that way. You know, Diksha means getting spiritual initiation." He wanted the next day. I said, "Well, you know," and he said, "How long do I need to wait? 1 month?" I said, "No." I explained to him, but he was not happy with me. He said, "No, in Mumbai, you can get to next day." I said, "Well, I don't think so. Especially, you know, in India, it's very now complicated, bureaucratic. If you want to take initiation, you take so many tests, so many exams. You have to basically go to school to get initiated. Permissions from this person and that person. Anyways, but the point was that the person he becomes a little more serious, practicing after 1 year at least, chanting 16 rounds, following regulatory principles, get initiated. And then we changed our names. And therefore, the one who was John, he became Jayananda or whatever. we get our names changed, and this is also indication that this person has become, he moved the next step. He has moved, or she has moved the next step, and so on and so forth. And later on, when we take other initiation, third initiation, which is a sannyas initiation, we may even change that name what we have. So Shiksha, which completely change our names. So, but in that time, in institution of Prabhupada's spiritual master, they gave the name by your qualities. So he got the name Abhay Charanaravinda, initiated name. And then due to his constantly writing nice articles for the magazines of his spiritual master and his knowledge, they gave him the name Bhakti Vedanta. That he was meaning Vedanta. He knew Vedanta well, but not just Vedanta, Bhakti Vedanta. Meaning Vedanta. Vedanta is, for those who are first time here, so I will, is just for you to know, sometimes I'll speak for those who are first time here, sometimes for those who are not, so everybody can get something. So if you don't get everything, Hare Krishna, it's very difficult to speak, if it's different audience. So please understand. And maybe you can ask later on, what is this Vedanta actually means? Vedanta is the total knowledge of Indian spirituality. This is called Vedanta. So the cream of the Vedanta, again, is the bhakti, is devotion. So Prabhupada's name was Bhakti Vedanta. So Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta. So this is his name. And so when he took sannyas, sannyas is, again, the fourth order of life, meaning renunciation, total renunciation. You get a stick besides, and then that's it. Actually, just a few days ago, I watched a film. And I watched a film called Shankaracharya. Oh, this was for me amazing. The culture, I was relishing it. Of course, philosophically, we very much disagree because of the impersonalism. We are very much into personalism. We accept one God as a supreme person, and he has a form. But the culture, that Shankaracharya took sannyas when he was 8 years old. Imagine, 8 years old child tells you, mother, I want to take sannyas. At that time, sannyas, nowadays sannyas in ISKCON, those who know what ISKCON is, what sannyas is a very even nice thing. You become sannyasi and people are like, oh, Maharaj. They give you everything, nice amenities, nice lifestyle, you can say. The only thing you have to just uphold your principles and give good lectures. That's about it, But in the olden days, in the Shankaracharya, actually it's not clear when did he live. Some scholars, that he lived 6th AD, means after the Christ, 6th century. And some say he lived 8th century. So in between 300 years sometime. And at that time, sannyas meant you take one piece of cloth and one stick as a sannyas rod, and you go to the forest. And you just live in the forest, all alone. And young Shankara, 8 years old, took sannyas and went to the forest, alone in the jungle. Tigers, animals, all kinds of snakes. And there's no, no bed, nowhere to, no mother to give you food. What are you going to eat there? But this is a tradition in India that at a certain age, people leave this materialistic world behind and go to the forest, first of all, by becoming vanaprastha. Vana means forest, and then sannyas, ultimately, to actually develop transcendental knowledge and give up this material manifestation altogether. So young Shankara did this, and this was, to me, wow, 8 years old. 8 years old, child, can I take sannyas, mother? And she said, would you like more potatoes or would you like more? And he said, mother, I want to take sannyas. Would you like more of this? She pretended she doesn't hear it 3 times, isn't it? And then he was walking by the river once, an alligator grabbed his leg. And mother said she'd know how to save him from the alligator, crocodile. And he said, please give me your blessings to take sannyas. This is how I will be saved. And she said, okay, I give you blessings. Because it's an emergency. So she gave him blessings and crocodile left him and he was happily taking sannyas. Anyways, the point is that Srila Prabhupada took sannyas also. And his name was A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And his name was also Swami, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. And then when he came to the West, he brought the knowledge, Krishna consciousness, mission of Lord Chaitanya to America, 1965, with great difficulties on the boat. He had 2 heart attacks. He was already 69 years old. And then he created, or you can say, some new Western disciples joined him, Americans. And they, after some time, they said, should we call you Swamiji? Because Swamiji is a little bit not respectful, Swamiji. Everybody calls everybody Swamiji. When I was in Kerala, wearing saffron, everybody called me Swamiji, you know. So, but Prabhupada says, no, the Guru should be called either Prabhupada or Vishnupad. So you call me however you like. So devotee said, Prabhupada. So this is how Prabhupada added more names to him. So A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So this is his name, describing his various qualities. And this was his, ultimately, in the passport. Imagine the passport looking, oh, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, okay. Anyway, so what I wanted to say this, Prabhupada was the first person I had association as a very new, aspiring to be spiritualist. I was reading all kinds of books, and I was interested in some not. Bhagavad Gita I read, was a poem, Bhagavad Gita, and it was nothing interesting to me, really. Some other books were more interesting, like Tibetan Book of the Dead. Anybody knows this book? Huh? This was for me revelation, how actually what's happening behind the next life. There's a next life. You can actually traverse the next life. Anyway, so, and then when I met Prabhupada in the form of a book, I was reading, this is the 3rd canto, I've got a 3rd canto, Srimad-Bhagavatam, Teachings of Lord Kapiladev and Teachings of Lord Varahadev. The Battle of Varahadev for me was the nectar of the nectars. I still, with great relish, I read even now. But Teachings of Lord Kapiladev in the 3rd canto describes the science of devotional service. And this was for me also revelation, because I saw how actually spiritual life can be very practical. This is what Prabhupada's uniqueness, you can say. He was not, of course there's esoteric, spiritual life also brings those kind of esoteric things, like visions and meditations and so on and so forth. But the essence of it is practical. Really practical. So for me, this was so inspiring that I saw this is how you do it. Because I see, you see this and somebody's meditating and somebody's drugs and somebody has this and then no, this is not it. This is not it. But when I saw Prabhupada writing and I read this, I was thinking, this is what it is. And this comes to the first point, what I wanted to make today, is the association of the devotees, meaning the company of devotees is so important. And therefore, as much as we like online preaching and online people are watching all kinds of online things, still the personal association is something else. Because with the personal association, it says, Prabhupada says here in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. So this is the root cause of our spiritual, you can say, advancement, is to meet somebody who is actually, as Prabhupada says here, advanced devotee. So even, and you will see tomorrow, for example, I will speak about some devotees which I met. I heard one lecture, or some devotees I met, like Tamal Krishna Goswami. I met him maybe 5 minutes in my life, or 10 minutes, and has very huge impact on my life. Rohini Sutta Prabhu, anybody knows Rohini Sutta Prabhu, is very also, one lecture I heard from him, and I don't think I ever spoke to him until recently, when we went to Switzerland and we went to visit him. But of course he doesn't know, it was so many years ago. But this one thing, what he said, it changed my life. One sentence of Rohini Sutta's changed my, and even now I'm following this. After 35 years, this sentence, it haunts me. But not tell you which is the sentence. This is called cliffhanger. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, I will tell you what is the sentence about. So you are forced, or mercifully, or kindly forced to come tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So, association of devotees is very nice. Prabhupada says, even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, still the association of devotees is most essential. And we see in the life of the Goswamis in Vrindavan, who were actual pure devotees, as Prabhupada says, they were mad after Krishna. Mad after Krishna. Like I was reading the other day, the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Raghava Pandit. Raghava Pandit is a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. And his standard of offering food to Krishna was so high that he would walk, if he wanted to offer coconut to Krishna, he would not offer any coconut. You know, like bring flour and you just bring it. No, he wants the best. So he would ask, where is the best coconuts? He said, 20 kilometers. So he would walk 20 kilometers and pay very expensive coconuts. He would bring and he would cool it down. And then once his servant was holding the coconut in his hand and holding the door of the, how man, I don't know why man likes to hold the door like this. This frame of the door, isn't it? Everybody knows. And he was holding with his left hand coconut and right, and Raghava Pandit was, what have you done? And he threw this coconut in the garbage. And the servant was, what have I done? He said, this coconut is completely contaminated. I said, why? He said, because this is a pure coconut offer. I put in the water to cool. And this, the frame of the door, people are walking by. So when they step underneath, the dust flies and touches the frame. And you have touched with your hand. And you touch the coconut, so the whole coconut is contaminated. I was thinking, wow, such a huge standard, Because in ISKCON, we have a very high standard of cleanliness, by the way. For those who don't know, if you go to the kitchen, like a few years ago, when we were living here in Simhachalam, the sanitary inspection came. And he was very, I don't want to say puffed up, but a little bit puffed up, I'm going to find the fault in your kitchen now. So he entered and he said, do you know the rule that when you enter the kitchen, you have to wash your hands? And I said, well, I think we do a little bit more than that, And he said, what? I said, we take shower and we take completely unused clothes. And he was like, he was shocked. He said, I never heard about such high standards. I said, yes, we have very high standards of cleanliness. We never taste. This is also muchi. You cook for Krishna, then I could put a little more salt. This tastes good. We take Krishna taste first. Anyway, so this is a very high standard. But Raghava Pandit, in my humble opinion, was not upholding the high principles of cleanliness. Raghava Pandit was mad after Krishna. And in his madness, he wanted to offer the best. And this was not the best. This is madness, Positive madness, of course. Because ultimately, mad after Krishna means, not again we are crazy, but mad after Krishna means we are so much involved with Krishna and service to Krishna that we are not interested in anything else, ultimately. Shunyaitam jagat sarvam, govinda virahena me. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Shunya means the whole world is vacant without you. Shunya, there's nothing. You walk around, I don't know if anybody fell in love before when you were younger, or maybe now, and you walk around and you see only her or him. Oh, maybe he's coming, But this is a million times more. Shunya, there's nothing except Krishna. When Lord Chaitanya said, if I could attain Krishna by giving up the body, I would kill myself 100 times. I want to do, he was just walking around and ask, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Kaha Krishna. Anybody from Bengal here? Bengalis? No. South India? Where are you from? You're South. South. You? Center. Okay, Nagpur. Okay. So let's not so much Bengalis. UP, also no UPs. Anyway, so this is ultimately what association with the devotees brings us to. And we associate with devotees personally, like this, and we associate devotees through the Shastra. Here is Zil, who tells the Vaishnava dies, while Vaishnava is still living in sound. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written that devotees are, by reading about them, we are actually associating with them. Not just by reading, but actually by meditating on them and by following their footsteps. Footsteps. So this is very important. So by following Prabhupada's footsteps, we actually develop, as said, one develops the quality of those whom he serves or she serves. So if we we try to follow Prabhupada's instructions, then we actually get his qualities or read about him. Especially I like always to read these Harisori Prabhu's. Now he has 7 parts, I don't know how many, but in the beginning 1 to 3 was the best. 4th was already a little bit, but 1 to 3. Transcendental Diary. This was to me, I traveled many, many years with these 3 books. This was like a nectar of the nectars. Because you see how Prabhupada thinks, how Prabhupada sits, how Prabhupada reacts in certain situations. So I really heartily recommend that if you can get these 3 books to read, you're most... It's really nice. So anyways, association is very nice, very important. So it says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sadhu Sangha Krishna Kripa Bhakti Rasvabhava Eitine Sabachadai Kare Krishna Bhava. Meaning, association of devotees, the mercy of Krishna, and the nature of devotional service, these 3, so devotional service, the mercy of Krishna, and the association of devotees, these 3 help one give up all undesirable association and attain gradually platform of love of Krishna. So these 3 is so important. Okay, I'm a little bit excited. So the association of devotees, Nummer 1. Nummer 2, the mercy of Krishna. Or Nummer 3, the devotional service itself. So Prabhupada says in Nectar of Devotion that this is the easy process. Says that those, the yogis who meditate, do some huge austerities. I saw this one video of some yogis, devotees of Ganesh, who go to the Himalayas in little skirt, nothing, and winter snow, and they go up to the knees, barefoot, walking through the snow, going, I don't know where they're going. Where would you go in the snow, in the mountains, in the Himalayas? I don't think there was a hotel there or something. They were just going through this snow. And he was going through snow, and he was like this, I love Ganesh, oh Ganesh, I love Ganesh. Completely ecstatic, walking in the snow. People do meditation, people do severe austerities, celibacy, controlling the mind, doing charity, giving thousands and thousands, cows in charity or whatever charity they do. Being truthful, being clean, and yoga, doing yoga asanas, pranayamas, and so on. And this Prabhupada says, however, if one is fortunate enough to get the association of a pure devotee, he can easily surpass all the practices for controlling the mind. All of these practices can surpass just by associating a pure devotee. So this is how important it is to associate. I'm speaking about Prabhupada at this moment. By association of Prabhupada, this transition from being non-devotee, in taking intoxication or eating meat even, to the position of being devotee is happening only by the mercy of a pure devotee. This is impossible otherwise ourselves. And becomes very easy. And how is it for many people? In my times, in the 90s, we just come and join the temple. You go there, just go and join the temple. You enter the temple, and from today on, no smoking, no meat eating, that's it. It's done. Very easy, really easy. And then you wonder, how is this possible? Some people try to give up smoking for years, Jai Shinisimmadeva. New Year resolution of give up smoking. This from January 1st, and then January 7th, or whatever the vice we have, I will never do this. I will not eat sugar. We did last year. I will not eat sugar, and I made it up to June, I think, no sugar, and then, alas. 6 months I made it without sugar. Anyways, so it's not very difficult. This is material. I'm not saying this is a spiritual thing. So, but the point is the serving pure devotees, associating pure devotees makes difficult things easy. seemingly easy. But it's actually to surrender to a pure devotee is not an easy thing. Not an easy thing. As some people are saying, but this is, Swamiji gave such a simple process. Some people in India when Prabhupada was there. And Prabhupada says, if it's so simple, why don't you join us? There was this famous story of Param Guru of Prabhupada, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. So a very wealthy man came. Wealthy men, sometimes they want to show off, I'm giving the big donation, Yes, I am giving donation to you. You are poor. Sannyasi. So he came and wanted to offer something to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. And we know Gaur Kishore Das Babaji is the most renounced person at that time. He would not even, cover himself, with some cloth. Anyways, I don't want to get into details, but very renounced. And so he would come to him and he said, I want to give you something. I said, I don't need anything. He said, I want to please you. I said, you want to please me? He said, yes. Then sit here next to me, take the mala, and don't go back to your world. He said, oh, but Swamiji, I have many things to do, very important, He said, no, sit next to me and chant and don't go back to your life. So he left and he never came back. So it's not easy to surrender to Krishna. As Prabhupada, when his spiritual master Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was leaving this planet, dying, if we can say, December 1st, 1937, he left the body. But like a few weeks before that, Prabhupada wrote a letter to him. Prabhupada was somewhere in Allahabad, I don't know where, and he wrote a letter to his guru who was in Puri, Jagannath Puri at that time, Hare Krishna. And he asked him this one question, and this one question is the essence of a discipleship. How can I serve you? Imagine how weighty this question is. Usually people say, can I buy this for you? Or can I cook this? How? But how? And then anything can come. Anything. Like Prabhupada gave the instructions to 17 years old Kshudidas, who is now living in Vrindavan. I met him when I was last time there. Very ecstatic devotee. He was 17 years old or 16, something very young. And he told him, we need somebody to preach in South Africa. Go to South Africa and start a movement. And he was a child, he was like... At that time, South Africa was also a secret police who was arresting people if you do anything strange. And so it was very dangerous. And here there was, 17 years old, 16 years old child, 17, I don't know, going because Prabhupada said it. Prabhupada said it. So he went to South Africa to preach. And he said it was very difficult, very dangerous. He said he could be arrested any moment. So he always had to run. But he managed to get us some connections by Prabhupada's mercy. And even now he is in Vrindavan, Dham, he's his last moments because of it. I'm convinced. Because he got mercy of Prabhupada from that moment, So it's important, this question, if you want to make spiritual advancement, ask, how can I serve you? If you want to make slow spiritual progress, ask, can I do this? Is it okay with you if I do this? And then spiritual master would say, yep, okay, very nice. Would you like to do? But how is the very, very important question. And it can skyrocket you. You can make spiritual advancement like anything. But you may go through some, as in Latin, anybody knows Latin, per aspera ad astra. You know this? Through the thorns to the stars. So we may need to go through some thorny area of our lives to come to the stars of Krishna consciousness. Anyways, so the time is usually not our friend. But I can say, like, first time I remember when I saw the picture, this is on the back of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, of Prabhupada, I did not know what to think. You know, because you see, I saw some other pictures of this and that, you know, I don't want to say guru, but this teacher and that teacher. But Prabhupada was very unique. You know, Prabhupada's face was not heavy, but at the same time, he was not, you know, I did not. And I found this, written by Tamal Krishna Goswami, which I will speak tomorrow about him, describe what did he felt when he saw Srila Prabhupada's picture first time. And this is exactly what I was thinking. He said, a friend showed me a picture of the Swami who was leading the program at the temple. I looked upon the beautiful, compassionate face of Srila Prabhupada. This is also what I felt, very compassionate face. You can see he's a very nice man, you could say. I could sense that Prabhupada's gaze, while soft and kind, nevertheless demanded a surrendered adherence I was not ready to offer at that time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So Prabhupada's face, this is the best description I thought about Prabhupada. Very nice and gentle, but at the same time, it demands something from you. It demands some kind of surrender. When you look at Prabhupada's picture, you want to do something. Somehow I felt that way. He demands something, this man, you know. So another thing, very important thing, is I saw in my early days, I saw Srila Prabhupada through the eyes of his disciples. I joined, you know, very briefly. I stayed in temple 2 months, and then I went to India, and you can say really joined there. And there was Prithu Prabhu was there, and his wife Rambaru Devidasi, and particularly through her, she was very much, you can say through her eyes, I could see Prabhupada much more clear. She would, for example, tell me, I didn't speak English at that time, almost none, maybe 5% of what I speak now, or 2%. My mountain style English, and she said, listen Prabhupada's lecture every day. And I said, but I do not understand. And she said, it doesn't matter. The sound vibration of Prabhupada's pure words will pierce your ears and enter your heart, as will purify you, even if you don't understand. And then another later God brother of mine, Rohini Kumar Prabhu, he was my leader, you can say. I joined, and 1 week after they said, we are traveling throughout India. Would you like to travel with us in the bus? I said, yeah. So we traveled all over India, but mostly not much south. We went up to Goa, and then that was it. We didn't go further down south. But mostly during the winter time, we would go to Goa with the bus. We would preach there and stop all the way. Mumbai, Uttar Pradesh, we did many times. And in the summertime, we would go to Himachal Pradesh, Kulu and Manali. This was a nice area to preach. We distributed books, harinams. And then throughout these things where we are driving, this Rohini Kumar would drive, and we had one driver because it's very dangerous to drive in India. Maybe now it's a little bit less, but it was really dangerous to drive. You can just get accident like any minute. He was a very good driver, and I sat next to him and was reading Bhagavad Gita. I did not understand anything what I read, and I read the Bhagavad Gita at least 4 or 5 times. I would just read Bhagavad Gita, read it, and we would travel sometimes 6 hours, 7 hours. I would read aloud Bhagavad Gita for 7 hours. Every day, 6 hours, 5 hours Bhagavad Gita. And slowly, somehow, word by word, I start to understand English. So I learned English through Prabhupada's books. And at the same time, I read Prabhupada's books. And I think I got some purification also. So listening the sound of a pure devotee is very important. So listen Prabhupada's lecture nowadays is very easy to find. These lectures, which, there was sometimes this 30-second, Prabhupada says something. No, just listen to a lecture. You can actually find a whole lecture. Prabhupada's lectures usually two lengths. One is 20 minutes and another one is 40 minutes. This is usual, not longer than 40 minutes. So listen lecture 3 times a week or 1 time a week. Prabhupada, just his sound vibration. It's very important. Also, Prabhupada's Kirtan. I remember when I first time heard also Prabhupada's Kirtan, I was reading Srimad-Bhagavatam, and I didn't tell anybody. There was a secret, and I started chanting in my mind because I was afraid not to make offense for some reason. Because Prabhupada said in the Bhagavatam that one should chant Hare Krishna mantra. And I started chanting Hare Krishna mantra, become more and more ecstatic, and I become so ecstatic that I could not control anymore to don't say it, Hare Krishna. I would just, and I was like, I have like a boiling pot. And I have to say to somebody, Hare Krishna, And I did not know whom to, what, my mother, she would not understand. Father, and then I walked once and I saw one girl, a friend of mine. I said, let's go behind this bar. There was a bar there. So let's go behind the bar. She was thinking, okay, She did not know what was my intention. So we went behind the bar and I said, Hare Krishna. And I cannot describe, it's like how do you call this, pressure cooker? When you open this, Indians, they know pressure cooker. I heard everybody, before you get married, you get pressure cookers, isn't it? You get the gift pressure cooker, because you have to cook dal, chana dal cooks long. So then you put a pressure cooker, just, and this is how I felt like. I said, Hare Krishna, and this whole, the tornado of came out. And then she said, oh, I know Hare Krishnas. I was like, what? She said, oh, Hare Krishnas, these are the people who chant in the winter time in the flip-flops. I had no idea what it is, This day on flip-flops, they chant Hare Krishna, in the winter time. I said, okay. So then she talked me about Hare Krishna movement a little bit. I didn't know. I just read what I read in Prabhupada's books. Anyways, and then later on, maybe a few days later, there was I'm coming from a small town, maybe 15,000 people. And in downtown park, there was a downtown, we always hang out there as young. And there was a hippie with the long hair. He had the long hair and pink glasses and pearls, like a real hippie. I never seen this before, wow, hippies, because we all listen punk, whatever. And I went to him and I said, who are you? What are you doing? And he said, I'm hitchhiking. Where are you sleeping tonight? He said, I'm just here in the park. Wow, this was for me. He's sleeping in the park, and hitchhiking. And I said, why don't you come to my house? You can stay with me tonight. We can speak a little bit. So I brought him to my house, and we entered my room, and he saw Srimad-Bhagavatam. He said, oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. I was like, what? And he said, give me your tape player. At that time, tape players, for those who are under 35, tape player is the same as player. You just have some tape and you put inside and you play it. So it's like music comes out of it. And so he took my tape player and took immediately all my tapes away, and he put his tape. And the first kirtan was Hari Om Sharan. I don't know if anybody knows from Mumbai here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. I was like, wow. Then he gave me Prabhupada. He had the tapes of Prabhupada. And this first sound of Prabhupada was Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Shijiva, this kirtan. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. So the whole new universe has been opened for me. So meaning, by the sound of Prabhupada, transcendental vibration of Srimad-Bhagavatam entered my heart. And then more and more, Krishna was sending more and more. Prabhupada was sending more and more. And then, not maybe 1 month later, he sent the devotees to my town. And I met the devotees and I wanted to buy it. This is a whole another story. But the point here, this is the power of Srila Prabhupada's words, the power of Srila Prabhupada's sound. So we should not underestimate that we have usually devotees have, I bought a set of Prabhupada's lectures, 37 books. And usually they want to protect the books so much that they keep them in plastic. They don't even open them to protect the books, We should open the plastic and read a little bit, And also listen Prabhupada, I have a whole lecture, maybe some 20 years ago in Vrindavan, it was popular to buy the CDs were still at that time. So you buy this many, 30 CDs of Prabhupada, all the lecture, and everybody's like, oh, I have a set of Prabhupada. But we have to actually listen. Nowadays it's very easy. You can actually just go online, and there's this green website, I don't know the name. Prabhupada Vani. Everything, conversation, lectures, you can just click one lecture and you have a text. If you want to follow, if you don't want to follow, just listen Prabhupada's words. And if you don't want to listen Prabhupada's words, just play it. And this will somehow or other, something will enter your ear. So this is my humble and not so humble recommendation. And this is just the beginning what I want to speak about Prabhupada, because there's so many things. And what I was really impressed about Prabhupada is Prabhupada's vision. Prabhupada's vision for the whole world. Whole world. Prabhupada did not have Prabhupada was not, the word parochial. Parochial means, this is my Bezirk here, and here Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada was the whole world, and not just the humans, but the animals, the birds, the trees, everybody. Prabhupada wanted everybody to be Krishna conscious. Why? Not because we want to present Hinduism, we are the best, Hinduism is the best religion, but because this is good for you, this is good for me. We will be able, if we practice properly, to transcend this material world and go to the spiritual world where we originally belong to. And that's why it's good for you. That is why, So, Prabhupada's vision is, Prabhupada had a vision when he started this group, League of the Devotees. This was way before he came to the West, in 1956 even. And there's a vision, if you want to read, I have it here outlined, but I think we're running out of time. We'll not be able to say everything. But he had a completely set up everything, what he wants to do when he becomes, influential. He wanted to preach. He wanted to form a society. He wanted to establish religion in the world instead of irreligion nowadays. Actually, I did the statistics. Statistics is 56 religion from 68% of the world who were religious. Nowadays is 56%. So within 10 years, religious dropped. People who are religious, so irreligion increases. So anyways, Prabhupada wanted to create community for devotees, which we have here. Prabhupada wanted to prove that modern civilization is wrong. Therefore, he formed Bhaktivedanta Institute and all other groups to preach. Then he wanted to explain who Krishna is, who God is, because even this people don't know. But on the end, anyways, this is I have to go through this really quick. Prabhupada was so enthusiastic. Maybe I'll read this tomorrow. He wrote a list. This is 90s, 50s. He wrote a book. He wrote a list of who he was printing back to God. Which countries should receive how many back to God? It's in 1956. And there's a whole list. And one of the countries, China, Saudi Arabia, 500. Sudan, 500. Austria, 500 only. Sweden, 500, and so on and so forth. Ceylon, 500, Ghana, 500, and so on. Prabhupada had a vision of Ghana. Ghana, at that time, was nothing. He had a little, not even a house in Jhansi. Jhansi is not even an important town in India. And he said his vision, I want to send. And the list is like maybe 30, 40 countries, Turkey, Pakistan, Cambodia, 500. And so on and so forth. So I like these things, and I would just for the end to say how Prabhupada was very, sometimes übertreibt, he was exaggerating in his preaching. We should do. So he said once, for the temple presidents, we should order so many books from the BBT that fill up the temple, the devotees have no place to sleep. So I became a temple president in 1997. I opened a center in Eugene, Oregon. And there was a house, and I said, I will do this. So I ordered, 50,000 worth of books. And temple, there was no place to walk. Temple room I just made it. The boxes were up to here maybe. And then you could not walk. You have to kind of made the tunnels, And devotees within whatever times distributed everything. So I thought, wow, this is so cool. And when the books were coming, everybody was like, oh my God, this is crazy, Sachi. But I thought, Prabhupada said it. It's possible. It's possible. Let's fill up the temple. No place to sleep. Anyways, so I like this from Prabhupada. And on the end, I just wanted to say how Prabhupada was very much, he liked his devotees. He did not think, I'm the master, you are the servants. They asked once Prabhupada, Swamiji, are there any other pure devotees in the world except you? And Prabhupada smiled and he said, how many devotees do we have in ISKCON? And they said, so many. He said, they are all pure devotees. So we are all pure devotees. And when Prabhupada went to Jagannath Puri, he went to have a darshan of Lord Jagannath, and because Jagannath management does not allow us white people to enter Jagannath temple, because for whatever reasons, I'm not going to enter this. I think it's just a mode of ignorance. But the management did not allow his disciples to enter the temple because they are mlechas or whatever. And Prabhupada says, I will never come back to Puri again. Unless they allow my disciples to come, I will never come. And he never went to Puri ever again. This is what I like. It's a loyalty. So therefore we should be loyal to Prabhupada. Those who are dedicated, those who are coming to become some kind of members of ISKCON, that we should understand. Lord Ram said in Ramayana, blessed is such a master who never leaves his servant, isn't it? And blessed is the servant who never leaves his master. So what is our mentality towards our amazing personality that has actually brought this Krishna consciousness and gave us opportunity to leave this material world. Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai ho! So I don't think we have a question time. So tomorrow at 8 o'clock I will speak a little more about other devotees. And this will be maybe a little somewhat humorous, because there's some devotees, some could be sometimes very unusual. And but nevertheless, they made such an impression on my mind that even nowadays I'm under this impression. So I thank you very much for your attention, and I hope we'll have a wonderful festival. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Nrsimhadev ki jai, Gaura Parimanande Hari Hari Bo. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
So I have to come tomorrow to the lecture because of the cliffhanger.
Hier, ja.